Welcome everybody. It's great to have you here tonight. This is Health for Life Cooking, which Health for Life Cooking is plant-based nutrition at its best. I'm April Ashcroft, and I'm very excited to have all of you here tonight. I'm really passionate about teaching about the healing power of plant foods and how drastically increasing them into your diet can drastically improve your health, increasing longevity, reducing your risk of disease, reversing disease if you have it, and achieving and maintaining your ideal weight. So who here tonight is interested in those things? I think we all are, right? Well, the power is in you. It's up to you with the food choices that you make each day to make that come about. There's no pill, potion, product, prescription, anything like that that's going to bring you health. It's all in the food. Chef AJ, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chef AJ, but she says it's the food, the whole food, and nothing but the food. So that's what we're here tonight about, is the food. And I'm just going to just give you a little brief background where I'm coming from. I come from a standard American family, eating the standard American diet, and all of my family who has passed on, and even the ones that are still living, have gotten the standard American diseases. And as I have watched this over the last 30, 40 years, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to, make some changes that would cause me to have better health and not have to go through bypass surgeries and not have to get diabetes, because I felt there was something inside of me that said this doesn't have to happen. And so I thought exercise was the answer, and so I got into exercise and I loved that, and I became pretty obsessed with it. And I was interested in eating healthy, but I wasn't eating very healthy. I was eating a lot of the kind of a healthy, what I call a healthy standard American diet. I was raised on whole wheat bread and brown rice, and we ate a lot of beans and low-fat dairy products and things like that. And so I was eating fairly healthy, but I got to where I wasn't feeling good, and I was constantly battling my weight, and I had this kind of food obsession, addiction to exercise, where I'd go and I remember one time eating a box of Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, you know what they are? So good. I think I ate about a box of them and then went out and ran to work it off because I felt so terrible and my body felt so terrible. And I thought, you know what, that is a really bad relationship with food. That's not a healthy way to think. And so over time, as I started, my health started getting bad. I wasn't feeling good. I went to the doctor and he wanted to put me on a pill, and I just had this feeling, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Right about that time, a friend gave me a couple books, The McDougall Plan and Diet for a New America. Read those, loved them, but they promoted a whole food, plant-based, vegan, vegetarian diet, and I was afraid to give up those foods that I loved. And so I just carried on, and I stumbled onto a book called Fit for Life, and for some reason that little book just grabbed me, and I decided overnight to change to a whole food, plant-based, properly combined, that's what it kind of was about at the time, plant-based diet, and my whole world changed. My energy level went from 0 to 10 within a week. I felt so much better. I stopped battling my weight, and just over time I have kind of tweaked things and improved things, and I figure this is like a constant educational thing throughout the rest of my life, because new science comes out about new foods, and I hear it, and I'm just so excited, and that's what I'm sharing with you tonight. This is more than a cooking class. This is going to be a nutrition class as well. So, and over the years, as I've gotten to know more people that are eating more plant-based diets and they've had drastic improvements with their health, it just makes me even more excited to share this message. So I'm really happy and excited to have you here tonight. So we're going to do 4 recipes. This is kind of an introductory kind of class. I like to, in my first class that I do for a group, I like to do a green smoothie because I feel like that's a really good way to get some healthy food into your body. I like to show a salad dressing. I like to do a main dish, and then I always do dessert because dessert is the best, right? Life isn't life without dessert. So we're going to start off with a green smoothie. Who does green smoothies or smoothies? Okay, so like most of you, you're pretty aware of them. So we're kind of having 2 desserts tonight because this could totally be dessert. We're going to do a chocolate lover smoothie. Do you guys love chocolate? I love chocolate. So, okay. So in our smoothie, I'm actually going to double this recipe. So we've got plenty. So I always start off with just water, plain water. And I don't use juices because juices, I'm kind of a purist. And I kind of like, I shoot for the best. And just because I do that and I teach that doesn't mean you feel like you have to do that. I feel like I want to teach the best. I feel like I know the best and I want to teach it, yes.
Are you going to be giving us any recipes or are we just...
Oh, we've got some recipes up there, over there, on the table with the handouts. Yes. So yeah, that'd be great. That would be great. So I'm going to start off with, well, like I said, I always start off with water. I don't usually use any milks of any kind, and you can. I encourage you to get away from dairy products and use soy milk, almond milk, or some kind of nut seed milks. But I like to just start off with water, and then I sweeten this with some dates. A lot of people use agave or honey or maybe maple syrup. I like to use dates. Dates are a whole food. All the parts of the plant are still there. All the fiber's still there. I did take out the pit. You don't want to try to blend the pit. I've tried to do that a couple times and it never blends. Although I'm sure there's some nutritional value in there. So in one recipe it calls for 3. I'm going to go ahead and put 6 in here. You guys are going to have a nice sample tonight. Okay. And then we're going to go with a tablespoon of either flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, or walnuts. They're high in omega-3 fatty acids. They are good to decrease inflammation throughout the body. And flax seeds in particular, in fact, seeds in particular, they convert, flax seeds especially, convert to, they have lignans, and those lignans convert to phytoestrogens in the body. And phytoestrogens are good to decrease your risk of breast cancer and prostate cancer. So flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds every day. And because I'm doubling this, I'm going to use walnuts as well, because walnuts are another great anti-inflammatory food. Studies show that walnuts decrease inflammatory diseases, like your risk of dying from inflammatory diseases by 50% if you're using, and it was just like a half a walnut every day. So include that walnut half if you can. Okay, so we got our seeds and our sweetener, and we're going to add the best part of this, and this is greens. This is just baby spinach. And of course I encourage, throwing in a leaf of kale if you can, although this chocolate smoothie, it doesn't cover up the kale flavor very much. If you're using kale, I like to use an orange or pineapple or something that's tart like that to cover up the bitterness of the kale. But we're going to go about 3 good-sized handfuls there. People with the greens are high in lutein, and people with the highest levels of lutein in their blood have the cleanest arteries with no atherosclerosis. Green vegetables feed your immune system. They feed nitric oxide production, which keeps your arteries flexible, keeps your blood running smoothly. You know what a Teflon skillet is like, how the water or the oil slides along, and it doesn't stick. Your arteries are like Teflon when you eat greens, okay? Keeps the plaque from building up in your arteries. Okay, then we're gonna go with 2 cups of blueberries.
Can I ask a question on the greens?
Please.
Does it matter if it's fresh or frozen?
With cruciferous vegetables like kale, collards, bok choy, arugula, watercress, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, those cruciferous vegetables, they have anti-cancer compounds, and I think when you freeze them, I know you lose that. And so, when you cook them. So if you freeze them, I'm not really sure. I think if you do, chop them up first, because when you chop up those greens, those foods, you activate the compounds in the greens, and then you can freeze them. And then after that, I'm not really sure. A good place to go for nutrition facts is nutritionfacts.org. In fact, I think I've got that listed underneath educational resources. That's Dr. Michael Greger. He puts out a video every other day about the latest in nutrition research. He's done that for 6 or 8 years, and there's thousands, literally thousands, of 2 to 3 5-minute videos about every topic you want to know about. He's probably got one on there about freezing your vegetables. He has one about what's the best apple, what's the best nut, what's the best kind of sugar, what's the best this, what's the best that, how do you decrease your risk of cancer. He's got it all. So, okay, we're going to add some bananas to this. We're going to add a couple cups of bananas. And what I do with my spotted bananas, I slice them up and put them in a plastic Ziploc bag like this. And then I lay them in the freezer. I lay them out like that. So they freeze like that. And then when they're done frozen, I can pick them up and crunch them up. And then they're easy to get out. And they blend a little bit easier than if they're a frozen whole banana. Bananas make great ice cream. Has anybody ever made an ice cream where you blend frozen bananas in a food processor or whatever? Oh, it's so good. Okay. You guys are going, wait, where's the chocolate, right? I forgot it. I usually put it down in the bottom before I put all the other stuff in so it doesn't, poof up all over the place like it'll do right now. So we're going to go 2 tablespoons.
Do you use a particular type of cocoa?
I used Dagoba at the health food store that they sold at Natural Grocer. I think it's Dagoba or something like that for a long time. And then Costco started selling it a large bag of some really good organic cocoa powder for a pretty good price. So I bought that. That's the last thing I bought. I kind of go for what's cheaper, as long as it's free trade and it's not supporting the slavery thing. Cocoa's the production of cocoa powder involves child slavery a lot of times. So I try not to support that. If you want to make this more like ice cream, you just put less water in it, and it's really thick to where you have to eat it with a spoon. I didn't want to have to mess with spoons tonight. How is it? Good? Yeah. So, and of course you can go less on the greens if it's too green for you, or the more greens you can get in, the better. But just get a little bit of greens in there, even if it's just a quarter of a cup. A quarter of a cup showed significant reduction in heart disease risk with just a quarter cup of greens. So just get those greens in any way you can. Yes.
How many servings would you say this recipe?
That half of that recipe right there that you have would be a smoothie that I would have or that my husband would have in the morning. That would be like breakfast.
Okay, so this would be for like one.
For one, Or you can, divide it in half if that's too much. I've kind of gone a little bit more towards having a grain type cereal in the morning, and sometimes I'll have that with a smaller smoothie, just like half the recipe. So, but that used to be my breakfast pretty much, was that smoothie. Yes?
Is there anything you can substitute the banana out for that would give the same consistency and sweetness?
Mango works really good in smoothies for that, but with the chocolate, I don't think it would. I'm not sure it would. I've never tried chocolate with mango. Is that good? Okay. I'm not really a chocolate fruit. I don't like strawberries dipped in chocolate, and I like just chocolate. I like this, but you don't really taste the blueberries. You do taste the bananas, but yeah, mango is really sweet and creamy, probably more so creamy than the, actually I've tried avocado. Avocado works really good, although you have to put more dates in to sweeten it.
sweetness.
Right.
But it definitely probably would give you the texture.
Yeah.
Oh, pineapple.
Pineapple, I don't know about pineapple and chocolate, but pineapple's good to sweeten. Oranges are really good to sweeten. When I use an orange or pineapple, I use like a mixed berry, like raspberries, strawberries, you know, those types of berries. I mean, blueberries would work as well. So
Chocolate goes with anything.
it goes with anything? Okay. I believe you. Okay. I'm gonna do, I believe, well, let's see. Let's get our sloppy joes going, so they can at least be cooking. So I'm going to start this off. Anytime I'm cooking anything, I always start off with an onion. I have to use an onion whenever I make something. And we're going to do sloppy joes tonight. You know, these onions, you can smell this onion all day long and it won't make you cry. But as soon as you cut that thing open, it starts affecting your eyes. Those compounds are called organosulfur compounds, and those are powerful against cancer. They will literally stop cancer growth in its tracks. So we want to get those onions in every day. Raw are better, but cooked is good as well. And the more you chop them, the more you activate those compounds. What I've been doing recently is chopping up, just keeping scallions on hand, little, green onions, and chopping one up and just throwing it in with my cooked meal just to get some raw onion in. It adds some nice crunch and some good flavor and good nutrients. In a large population study involving 10 countries, a European study, those who ate the most onions had the least risk of heart disease and cancer both, decreasing cancer risk between 65 and 70%. You guys familiar with the chopper? This is the Vidalia Chop Wizard. I love it. People come to my classes and they go out and buy one and they come back and they're like, I love that thing. You can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond. I've seen them at Target. It's been a while since I've seen them there though. Amazon. You can get them at Amazon for like 20 bucks. Amazon?
No, what is
Oh, Vidalia Chop Wizard. There's one called the Progressive as well. And that's a good one. That's a good one too. It's got a little measuring thing on the side where it shows your cups. All right, I need to turn the burner on here. I can't see what that. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm not going to saute my onion in anything. This is going to be a dry skillet. I don't use any oil ever. All oils, even coconut oil, even olive oil, even safflower oil, even motor oil, it all increases risk of heart disease despite everything you've ever heard for the last 20, 30 years. And don't believe me, go to my website, healthforlifecooking.com. I've got a video on the very front page because this is a very misunderstood topic, but a very important topic. If you're doing everything you can to get your cholesterol down and it's just not coming down, you're using olive oil and you're eating fruits and vegetables and it's just not coming down, get rid of the olive oil and see what happens. My husband had been eating a whole food plant-based 98% vegan diet for 10 years. His cholesterol was still 270 something. And I was using olive oil and we were using Vegenaise, mayonnaise kind of thing, and Earth Balance buttery spread and all the heart healthy oils. And after going to this conference where we heard Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn speak, he's the director of preventive cardiology at the Cleveland Clinic. He wrote the book, Become Heart Attack Proof. And he directs a program where he reverses heart disease in like 98% of his patients following his program. And he tells them absolutely no oil. It damages your endothelial lining, which produces nitric oxide. And remember I said that greens produce nitric oxide to keep your blood vessels like Teflon. When you put olive oil into your body, you're greatly inhibiting that nitric oxide process because it kind of coats the lining of your arteries. You've got endothelial cells. It's kind of like your nice jacket that's got a lining in it. Your arteries have that same type of lining and it's got these little holes that produce this nitric oxide. It shuts that process down when you put oil. Oil also is 120 calories per tablespoon of pure 100% fat. It's the highest calorie, lowest nutrient food that we eat. Since we discovered in the late 80s that olive oil was so healthy for us, we've all gotten skinny and we have no heart disease anymore, right?
Yeah.
No, it's worse. I mean, if anything, it's worse because we're putting olive oil on everything, right? Oh, sorry. Can you watch that, please? Again, but don't believe me. Go listen to Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's. It's like a 5-minute video on the front page of my website. It says, "Why no oil?" Click it. It'll take you right to his video. Or you can go to YouTube and just Google or just look up Caldwell Esselstyn. You can look up, and there's a lot of doctors that are promoting the no oil idea. So what do? How do you saute?
How do you spell Esselston?
Esselsstyn. E, maybe? If you put Caldwell Essel, it'll come up, I think. He's very well known in the whole plant-based nutrition arena. Okay, so I have no oil in here. I'm just going to put these onion in here like so. This is just a stainless steel. It's a real good quality pan, which does help. But the hotter the pan, the better, I think, from what people tell me. And I usually, although I've got this probably hotter than I want. But the trick is to start stirring immediately, and not, keep it stirring. What you want to do is you want to brown those onions. That means they're starting to caramelize. The sugars are coming out. I actually have my burner on when I do this about medium high. Oh, that's a strong onion. I was going to say no more tears with the chopper, but sometimes if you get a strong onion, you do have tears. Onions decrease inflammation too. Vascular inflammation.
So for fat, you get your fat from things like avocados and those kinds of
Yes.
things, but you do need to have some fat.
Absolutely, you need fats. Avocados, nuts, seeds. In fact, the great thing about those fats, unlike olive oil or safflower oil or coconut oil, is there's fiber in the whole plant food. That fiber binds, or the oil in those foods binds to that fiber, and a lot of it goes right into the toilet bowl with that fiber. When you eat olive oil, there's nothing for it to stick to. All those fats go right where you don't want them. So it's better to eat and plus it doesn't register on your appestat. Like if you were to eat 120 calories in a tablespoon of olive oil, if you ate 120 calories before you had a dinner of olive oil, and then you had 120 calories of apple or a piece of bread, you're going to eat less when you've had that bread. You're not going to eat less when you've had that olive oil because it doesn't weigh anything. It doesn't register with your appetite. Does that make sense? That's from a weight loss point of view. Okay, so those onions are kind of getting going. I'm turn that down just a little bit too much there. I don't have a gas stove, so this is a little bit different for me. But okay, so it's getting a little bit brown. I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. I've got a clove of garlic here. I'll just finish chopping. Garlic and onions both. Garlic is part of the allium family, like the onion. They have those powerful anti-cancer compounds. In studies, they showed garlic and onion both stop the cancers from growing, the tumors from growing immediately with all types of cancers. So get that garlic in as much as you can. Onions, by the way, don't lose a whole lot of nutrients when you cook them. Some of those cancer compounds are decreased, and so that's why I say it's good to get raw as well. But you can cook them, like in a soup or something. Okay, so once we get that browning going on the bottom of our pan, I'm going to grab some water and just add a little bit of water. And that's going to kind of loosen up the browning on the bottom of the pan. And you can also use like balsamic vinegar or tamari soy sauce, or a cooking wine if you like to use cooking wine. I like to, over the summer, I was using a tomato. Like if I was going to make something that contained tomatoes, I would chop up a tomato, and once that, the onion and garlic got cooked and I needed some moisture, I just threw in a tomato, and that provided some good moisture. And then I just added all the other things. I need a class on how to run a gas stove. I want that like medium high. Yeah. Okay, so to this, I'm going to add one of the most important things that women especially can add to their diet. I'm sure men as well. In fact, I've seen studies about men and mushrooms. Whenever I'm sauteing an onion, I always throw in some mushrooms as well. Mushrooms have aromatase inhibitors. That means that they have special proteins that lower estrogen levels. We want to, women, men especially too, want to lower our estrogen levels. They have angiogenesis inhibitors, which means that they cut off the blood supply to a tumor that might be growing in your body. We all have cancer cells floating in and out of our body all the time. If we have a strong immune system, that immune system attacks them and kills them and gets rid of them. If our immune system isn't working so well, it may not, that function may not work very well. But we want to get some mushrooms in. In fact, one particular study showed that women who eat, we want about a cup, women who eat 1 button mushroom a day, these are button mushrooms, just the white button mushroom, 1 a day, women, 64% less risk of breast cancer. Okay, we need to get these mushrooms in every day. And we're putting in about a cup. Oh. And we want to cook them. They have a garetine toxin that the jury's still out on that, actually. They're not really sure if it's toxic in small amounts, but my favorite doctor, Dr. Joel Furman, he's a board-certified family physician from New Jersey. He encourages his patients, eat them, but cook them, just at least for a little bit, just to blow off that garetine toxin. It goes away just very quickly with a little bit of steaming. Okay, we're going to let those cook for just a moment. Once we get this going a little bit longer, I'm going to put in some broccoli. Kind of the same thing. Whenever I'm cooking onions and mushrooms, I'm throwing in some kind of green. And broccoli is a cruciferous vegetable. I mentioned those earlier. Cruciferous vegetables have the most powerful effect against cancer. In population studies where they gave people, increased their level of vegetables by 50%, cancer rates doubled. The risk drop, the drop in cancer rates double, or decrease. Well, I'm getting all confused here. Cancer rates dropped 20%. When they gave them cruciferous vegetables, cancer rates dropped 40%. So they got double the protection with the cruciferous vegetables. Again, that's broccoli, kale, collards, arugula, watercress, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. I'm going to chop this. I chopped most of this with my chopper, and we also have a blade here. It's a smaller blade that I use to chop the broccoli. This is more like for onions, and you can use this one for the onions as well. But I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate how easy that is with the broccoli. And it gives you a nice crumbly texture. I like getting that crumbly texture because it kind of looks like hamburger when it's all cooked and done amongst the tomato sauce. You can hardly even tell. So I'm going to go ahead and put in this broccoli. This is about it's actually about 4 cups of broccoli. Lutein, you know, that lutein I was saying that people that have the most in their system have the cleanest arteries. Lutein is also stored in the eyes, which helps with night vision. It's also good for the skin, protecting your skin from DNA damage from the sun. And tomatoes do that as well. We all know about lycopene. Lycopene is good to protect your skin from the sun. Okay, I'm just going to put the lid on this for a few minutes and move over to our salad dressing. We're going to do a green salad tonight. And just a word about a green salad. I just kept it super, super basic tonight, but one of the best greens that you can, salad greens, is your romaine lettuce. Spinach, of course, is really good, but more your lettuce, I mean, spinach is considered a lettuce, but more your red leaf, green leaf, your romaine lettuce is going to be your highest in antioxidants. And then something else I want to include in my salad is a raw cruciferous vegetable. You know, I talked about the cruciferous vegetables being powerful against cancer. It's best when they're raw. And when you chop them, you're increasing the effect of those cancer-fighting compounds. So what I've got in my salad is some raw shredded purple cabbage. Again, purple has got those polyphenol antioxidants that are so good. And by the way, antioxidants mean anti-aging. Whenever you hear that word, antioxidants, think anti-aging, because that's what they do. They protect your cells and help you to keep from aging. Again, I kept this really basic, but something else I put in here is raw onion in my salad, and I also put beans in my salad because we're getting beans and legumes in our sloppy joes. I wasn't going to add that to the salad as well, but those are 4 main components. So greens, a cruciferous vegetable, raw onion, and beans. And then I also get I also put in like a whole grain like quinoa or millet or some rice. I want to make this salad very filling. So I have a salad every day for lunch. And in fact, this Dr. Furman, he encourages people to make at least 1 meal of their day a big leafy green salad. And make it a meal. Make it, you know, not one of these little wimpy salads that you get at McDonald's. We're talking, I mean, the salad bowl that I take for my lunch is like the size of this. I mean, it's like a little Tupperware thing that you would take to a potluck. And it's got greens and, you know, all the things I mentioned, plus some whole grains and a good salad dressing. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight, is how to make an easy, really good salad dressing to go on those greens. So let's see. I want to keep an eye on that. Don't want that to burn. You have my wood spoon, right? I don't really need it right now, but okay. So when you go to the store to buy a salad dressing and you're looking for like a vinegar type salad dressing, you look on the label, which I hope you all read labels, but you're going to see like vinegar, you're going to see sugar, you're going to see oil. And so what I do, I don't want those things in my salad dressing, so I'm going to make my own, and I'm going to use all of those components. So I've got rice vinegar, and you could use apple cider vinegar if you want. I've got some water. I've got some sunflower seeds. Those are going to provide the fats along with those fibers to help bind those fats. Okay, and then I'm going to sweeten it with dates. And again, dates, whole food, all the parts of the plant. And the wonderful thing about the fibers, it's going to help to thicken this salad dressing, as you'll see. So, I put in, I've just got those right here in the blender, and then I'm going to add a tablespoon of mustard. Oh, you know what I forgot to put in our sloppy joes is a 1/4 cup of green chilies. So I'm bouncing back over there for just a second. This is going to add a little bit of spice to it, not too much though. And that's getting like, it is getting close to being done. We'll let that go just a little bit longer. Okay. So I'm going to go with about a tablespoon of mustard. So this is a sweet mustard dressing. Kind of like honey mustard, but it's sweet mustard. And you can use honey if you want, but again, the great thing about the dates is it helps to thicken it. You know, I see salad dressing recipes where you put it on the stove and you put your cornstarch in and you stir it. I'm like, you know, if you're adding sugar, you don't need to thicken it, because if you add dates, you can thicken it with those, and then your seeds as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and spin that. We have a lot of smoothie left, probably. Okay, super, super simple. That's all it is. And I was soaking those, yeah, I can just put that in something. I was soaking those seeds and the dates so that they would soften, so when you blend it, it blends really creamy. And so if you don't have a real strong blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, a super, super duper blender, it'll still blend pretty smooth in just your standard blender. So you just want to soak them. If you have a strong blender, you wouldn't need to soak them like that. You could just throw everything in there and blend it up and it would work just fine. So I'm going to have, there is actually a whole thing of salad dressing right over there on the counter.
Can you make salad dressing and keep it for a few days?
Yeah, it'll keep. That will keep for good for at least a week. I mean, the sugars and the vinegar keep really well. All right, so our broccoli is getting tender. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add in some lentils first. Lentils, of course, are a legume. Legumes are so healthy for you. Legumes are beans, peas, and lentils. How many eat? Are you guys familiar with lentils? Do you eat them? Hopefully, eat them often. They're super high in protein. They're one of your best sources of protein. Speaking of protein, we have an obsession in our country with protein, and it's all media driven. We don't need to worry about protein. We get plenty. If we're eating even an unhealthy diet, it is really hard to be protein deficient. But the way we hear things today, you would think that we have to like jump through hoops to try to get enough protein, and we don't. It's in every food out there. It's in fruits. Fruit is even 5 to 7 to 9% protein. Beans are up close to like between 40 and 50% protein. Greens are up there, 30 to 40% protein.
Are those canned lentils or did you use dry?
I cooked them myself. Thank you for asking. So I just took a cup of brown lentils and boiled a couple cups of water. Once it was boiling, I put them in, turn it down, kind of like you cook rice. And they cook within like 20, 25 minutes. Nope, I don't use any seasoning because I'm putting the seasoning in, when I'm putting them in, whatever I'm putting them in. With my beans, I cook my beans from scratch, so I do them a little bit different. I don't soak my lentils, but with the beans, I cover them with water, let them sit for 24 hours. The longer they sit, the more bubbly they get, and so when you dump that water down the drain, you're dumping some of those gassy compounds that can cause discomfort. And so the longer you let those soak up to about 24 hours, the more you're going to get that off. So I soak them and then I cook them in my crock pot and then I freeze them in little square containers and put them in my freezer and they're ready to go as long as I remember to take them out ahead of time. So, okay, then we're going to add in about a cup of, where's my cup? Did you wash my cup? We're going to do about a cup of barbecue sauce. While she's getting that cup, I'm going to put in a can of tomato paste. Thank you. On canned tomatoes? Canned tomatoes, I don't like to use canned tomatoes because of the can. But I don't know what else to do except bottle my own tomatoes. I've actually been buying, because of the can, because of the acid, the metals get into the tomato. That can definitely be a problem. I've gone to chopped tomatoes. I've gone to the aseptic containers, the little paper, cardboard containers. I've pretty much decided that's the route I'm going with diced tomato paste. I'm not finding that with tomato paste. So.
They have it in tubes. I don't know.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the tubes, so that's good to know.
Usually in the fresh section where you will buy your spices.
Okay.
Oregano, parsley, and
I'll have to look for that because I really don't like using the canned.
Barbecue sauce that you made?
Yes. Oh, it is. And after I printed the recipes, I realized I didn't have the recipe on there. Although I'm not sure how many people want to make their own barbecue sauce. But if you want it, I think my email's on there. If you want to email me for it, I would be happy to send it to you. It's just of course, like canned tomatoes, tomato paste. So it's not totally homemade from real tomatoes, but, well, it is real tomatoes, but not my own cooked tomatoes. I like to get away from the processed sugars, and it's really hard to find, barbecue sauces, ketchup, without the processed sugars. Although this does have molasses and some maple syrup in it, but it also has dates. So there's not a ton. There's about a 1/4 cup of molasses and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. And then about 10 dates, I think.
what's your feeling on stevia?
Stevia, the research out on stevia is that it's okay if you're using it to sweeten your tea, coffee, a drink or something, but to use cups of it, the processed white stuff, to do a cake, cookies, whatever, not a good thing. The main problem with sweeteners is our American sweet tooth. We want to eat it 3 times a day. I know I do. But so we have to, even stevia can be a problem. Again, Dr. Michael Greger has several videos about stevia if you want to go and look at that. Okay, I need to peek at my recipe here and make sure I've got everything in there barbecue sauce and green chilies, tomato paste, and we're going to do a little bit of salt. I don't know what that looks like, about 3 teaspoons.
I wonder if you found any relationship between food and how insects are attracted to, they're not attracted to, like mosquitoes.
In what you're eating and if they're attracted to you?
Your blood or your essence or?
Well, I know that garlic helps with that. Like if you're eating a lot of garlic, they tend to not bite you. Right. You may not have any friends, but you'll be healthy, right?
No vampires.
No vampires. Okay, so that is pretty much it. We're going to be serving this on a whole wheat bread. It's the what do they call them? The Harmon's bread in their bread section. It's the 9 grain. It's very healthy. I like to use a sprouted wheat bread. Sprouted wheat, my body likes sprouted wheat better. But this bread is really nice and it's soft and it's good for these sloppy joes. And what I really like to do is spread some avocado on the slices of bread before to add some good fats. Because when you add fats to anything you're eating, you increase the absorption of the nutrients in those vegetables, in those foods, by up to 10 times. So again, back to fats. We want to add a little bit of fats to our food, to our diet. Some avocados, wonderful. So I'm just going to set this back here. You could probably go ahead and start.
Do you want to do this and then the salad separate?
Actually, both on one plate. We'll do that, yeah,
Okay.
with salad, a little bit of dressing. All right. So just a few things about beans. I don't want to forget to talk about beans because they're so good for you. In fact, a large, like 12-year study showed that people who eat beans just a cup twice a week have half the risk of colon cancer. And colon cancer is the #1 cancer killer in our country. So again, get your beans in. They're high fiber. They're a great source of complex carbohydrates, which stimulates serotonin. Serotonin is produced in the gut. Okay, that's why beans are so good for the gut. Is because or why beans are good for depression is because they feed your gut bacteria, and your gut and your brain are totally connected. And if your gut's in good shape, your mind's going to be in good shape too. They're low calorie, beneficial fats. They're rich in zinc, which helps to fight infection. Protein is 20 to 37% protein in your beans. They prevent food cravings. They decrease your desire for sweets. They help you to stay full. They have resistant starch, and those beans aren't digested normally. They go down into your large intestine, and that's where they break down into butyrate, which they are feeding your gut bacteria, and that helps to decrease inflammation throughout the body. You don't absorb all of the calories from beans because of that resistant starch. There's calories that are bound to that starch, and they move right out of your body. They help burn fat, so they decrease fat storage and increase fat burning after a meal eating beans. Let's see, they're the most nutrient-rich carbohydrate. We want to eat a carbohydrate-rich diet. I know low-carb diets are really popular right now, but you are starving your gut microbiome when you eat a low-carb diet. Your gut bacteria feed on carbohydrates. In fact, when you're not eating carbohydrates, they're looking for carbohydrates, and so they start eating away at the lining of your digestive tract, because your digestive tract kind of has a coating, a carbohydrate coating, this mucus coating, and it's made of carbohydrates, and they'll start eating away at that, causing something like leaky gut, irritable bowel, and things like that. We want to eat carbohydrates, but eat beans, they're good for you. They remove cholesterol and other fats out of the body. That's because of the fiber that's in them. It pulls out toxins from your body. So get those beans in. All right, so last but not least, we're going to do a dessert. We're going to do some peach cobbler. So let's see, I've got my blender jar. Is the blender jar? Yes, it's washed.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. We're not going to even need that. Okay, so we need, where's my pan for?
What do you need? I probably wash it.
No, it's got the peach cobbler stuff in it.
Oh, right here. This?
Oh, yeah, that, and then there's a another pan somewhere. Oh, yes. Okay. Just a word about blenders, because I'm using two appliances tonight to make the peach cobbler, and it's kind of necessary to have both. But you can do the crumble in the blender. But just a word about blenders. It's a Vitamix, and it's an expensive blender. But my blender is a major appliance. I use it more than any other appliance in my kitchen. I use it more than my dishwasher, more than my washer and dryer, almost more than my stove, probably more than my stove. And it costs about as much, but because it's so small, we have a really hard time forking out the money to buy a blender. You know, when our washer and dryer goes out, we go out and buy a washer and dryer whether we can afford it or not. When my blender goes out, I'm going to go buy me a blender whether I can afford it or not, because it's a major appliance. And I see people going and buying a less expensive blender, which is totally understandable. It's hard, believe me, it's hard to spend $400 on a blender. But they'll go buy one, they'll burn it out, they'll go buy another one, they burn it out, they go buy another one, and then after 5 years they're like, what the heck, I'm just going to buy a Vitamix. And they say, God, I should have just bought that right at the first. Then I could have saved a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But anyway, so we're gonna do our crumble first. This is a peach crumble, and we can make a crust as well, but tonight we're going to do a crumble. So I'm going to start off with, okay, so our crumble normally has like oats, butter, some sugar, brown sugar, right? So we're going to kind of use those same type of ingredients, but we're going to use them in whole food form. So I'm going to use pecans as my fats. Again, these have fibers in them to bind some of those fats. By the way, people that eat nuts and seeds on a regular basis burn 11% more calories at rest than people who don't. They're high protein, high minerals. They're a tiny package of high protein, high nutrient goodness. It doesn't take much. Like that half a walnut a day decreases your inflammation. I mean, it takes very little. We don't want to sit down to a bag of nuts and sit there mindlessly throwing them down our throat. We're not going to lose weight doing that. But if we're adding them to things, like my salad dressing, I added those seeds to the salad dressing. We're going to have a little bit of dessert after dinner. We have a tendency to think, because this is so healthy, that we can eat like a quarter of this, can't we, for breakfast? It's still dessert. It's still high fat, high calorie. I always tell people, when you make my desserts, make sure you have lots of friends to share them with, because if you're like me, they call you all day long. Come eat me, just a little piece, won't hurt you. And that's fine if it's once a day, but if it's all day, it's not good. Okay, so I've got my dates, my sweetener in here, and I've got my pecans, and I'm just going to go ahead and grind this up. So we want this to become sticky, kind of like butter sugar combination would be. So what I like to do with this at Christmas time, this date nut combination, is throw in some cocoa powder, throw in some cranberries, some raisins, some maybe cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and then I roll it in a ball, and then I roll it in some coconut, and then I put them in the refrigerator and they firm up and they are in my refrigerator. And so when I go to work and there's all these terrible candies and stuff sitting out all day, I just can't wait to get home so I can have some of my healthy stuff. And that keeps me away from the sugar and stuff, during the holidays when it's so hard to stay away from that stuff. And sugar's so bad for you because it totally blows your immune system. I mean, just the smallest amount kills your immune system. And that's what makes us so susceptible to colds and flus during the holidays. We think, oh, it's the cold season. It's not the cold. It's called Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. That's why we get sick in the winter. It's not the cold weather. Okay, then I'm going to add just a little bit of vanilla to this. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. right, then once this gets sticky, I'm going to add my oats. So a cup of oats. And then I'm just going to briefly chop this. I want to keep the oats with some kind of texture. Now, if you wanted to do a pie, a peach pie, what you would do is grind this clear down to where it's a real crumbly substance. And then you could press it into the bottom of your pan and then sprinkle a little bit on top, and you've got more of a pie type. But this is more of a crumble. So we want to keep our crust crumbly. All right, and that is going to be our crumble, and we're going to put that on top. Actually, we're not going to put it on the bottom like a pie crust. Okay, so in our blender, we're going to make our fruit filling, and I've got my peaches cut up already. The peaches that we're going to have in the whole in our pie, and then I'm going to take these whole peaches. And just, we're gonna make a sauce. You know how your pies have a glaze? We're gonna make a glaze with some peaches and dates.
You leave the skin on them?
I do. These are organic peaches. I try to do organic when I can, and when I do organic, I use the skin because the skin has got lots of nutrients. In fact, like with an apple, that's where most of your antioxidants are, is in the skin. Whew. Okay, that half isn't going to be, I'm not going to use that half. Okay, then we're going to put in some dates to help to sweeten this up. And then a little bit of vanilla. And then we're going to go with some more cinnamon. Let's see. My cinnamon's right there. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and blend that down just a little bit. Oops. The lid to my blender is,
Sorry, I keep washing it.
that's okay. Thanks for washing it. Oh, there it is. Thanks. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and blend this up real quick before we, oh, is the blender or the tamper in there? Oh, here it is. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to add some cinnamon. About a teaspoon. And we're going to add just a little bit of nutmeg. Just about a pinch, just about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Oops. And then blend. A large spoon, just a large spoon. Yeah, that's perfect. No, that works good. All right, so there is our glaze for our peaches, and we're just going to pour that right over the peaches. And you can do this with any kind of pie. I make a triple berry pie out of the triple berries from Costco, that triple berry combination. I do the same thing with that. Just thaw however, like 7 cups, and then you blend 1 or 2 of those cups with some dates. And the seeds and the berries help to thicken the sauce, so it'll set up overnight in the fridge. This doesn't set up quite as good, but it gets a little bit firm. I've done an apple pie, cherry pie, blueberry pie, strawberry pie. I love strawberry pie. Same way. You could do it as a crumble or a crust, pie crust, like I was telling you, where you grind down the entire crust really fine and then you press it into the bottom of a pan. So we're going to go ahead and just stir that sauce right into those peaches. right, and then we're going to take our pan here and just transfer it to this. This is peach season too. It wasn't peach days last weekend in Hurricane?
You don't coat your pan at all?
Nope, this is totally raw. And you could put it in the oven and heat it up a little bit if you wanted. You could even cook it if you wanted. Cook your peach filling. I have a hard time cooking fruit for some reason. I don't know that there's, I mean, you lose quite a bit of nutrients when you cook it, but it's still good. I mean, you still do have nutrients in it, but you get more of the enzymes and all that when it's raw. I'm going to grind that down just a little bit more. Here, you can take that, Linda. Thank you.
You can if you thought it.
So I'm just going to top this with this crumble. Now, when it sets, the moisture from the peaches and the the sauce kind of absorbs some of that into the crumble and makes it really good. I actually made one ahead of time. And we're going to go ahead and we'll serve that one because it's kind of set for a while and it's gotten that moisture into the crust. It makes it really good. How's the sloppy Joe? Like it? Can you taste the broccoli in it?
No.
Isn't that amazing? You know, and that's what I encourage people to do. You know, I mean, I encourage people to really go more towards a whole food plant-based diet. The more plant foods, the better. The more you can get those foods into your diet, the greater less risk of disease and all of that. But you know, for standard American folk who are who are very used to a high animal food diet with not a whole lot of, you know, according to the research, you know, our diet consists of about 7% whole natural plant foods, and the other 93% is processed foods and animal products. We need to switch that. We need to completely flop that the other way. And the more we do that, the better off we'll be. And I was going somewhere with that, and now I can't remember where I was going with it. But anyways. Okay.
I was just going to say, though, like a couple years ago, I planted kale in my garden. And really, you can't hardly kill it. And it grows all year round. It just is amazing.
Wow.
So,
I haven't been that lucky with my kale. It usually freezes.
Mine never does.
Wow.
But I'm thinking you could plant it in a flower bed as greenery and.
Oh, it's beautiful. You know what? I noticed Disneyland has it all over the place amongst their shrubs and stuff. So they probably use it too. Yeah. Oh, just spoon it out. Yeah, in those cups, in those little cups. Yeah. That'd probably be better. So when you're eating this combination of, in fact, I didn't talk about G-bombs. I'm going to talk about G-bombs for a minute. It's an acronym that Dr. Joel Fuhrman, again, the physician from New Jersey, he came up with this G-bombs, and it represents greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. And I have some of my recipes I call one dish wonders, and that means that they have all of the G-bombs in them, except for berries, because I wouldn't put berries in sloppy joes. But like these sloppy joes tonight contained all the G-bombs if you were to add some, like a salad dressing with your seeds in it. So we had greens, we had onions, we had mushrooms, we had beans, and we had seeds in that. And when you have that combination, that's a great, powerful, high protein, high calcium, very high nutrient combination that's going to literally like feed the cells of your body. I mean, your cells are so excited to get that good nutrients like that. And when you're feeding the cells of your body like that, rather than just filling up the hole in your stomach, you know, it just decreases risk of disease, helps you again to maintain your ideal weight. I mean, your body knows exactly what to do with all those nutrients. So, and then fruits, of course, they fit in there as well. The berries are your best fruits to use. So get those in as much as you can. Just the more you can go towards more plant foods in the diet, the better off you're going to be. And I mean, the research is totally supporting that. And I encourage you. I like to give homework. So go home and do your homework. Your homework is to watch either Forks Over Knives, and I've listed underneath your educational resources. If you haven't watched Forks Over Knives yet, watch Forks Over Knives. It's an amazing documentary. Also, What the Health is an amazing documentary that's really awesome. There's tons of stuff on YouTube. Dr. Joel Fuhrman is on YouTube, Brenda Davis on YouTube, a ton of stuff. I watch, listen, I mean, I'm kind of obsessed with this stuff. When I got dinner going, I got my little tablet and I'm listening to lectures, and I can't keep up. I get stuff in my inbox every day of all these lectures and from these nutrition experts, and it's all, you know, it's all supporting plant-based nutrition, and they talk about, you know, disease reversal properties of it and everything. It's exciting. It's exciting to know that we do have control over our health. So I'm grateful that you guys were here tonight. We do still have dessert coming. And I would love to visit with you. If you want to visit more afterwards, you're welcome to come up. And I didn't introduce my help in the kitchen is Linda. She's actually made the switch years and years ago. Came to some of my classes and started transitioning and learned to love to cook and had some great experience with her health and her husband's health. And even I think some of her family have kind of taken on this way. So you can visit with her as well. And I've got some books up here. These are my favorite authors, favorite books. I encourage you to read How Not to Die. This is not how not to die, it's how not to die of heart disease, diabetes, cancer. Every chapter is dedicated to a disease. Very well researched. He's the doctor that put up nutritionfacts.org, the free website with all the video information. He's got it all right in here. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, End of Dieting, Super Immunity, love this book. China Study, highly recommend that China Study if you have especially cancer in your family and you want to decrease your risk and find out the research on that. Anyway, thank you again for coming. I hope to see you another time. I'm going to be teaching for ICL about every other month until the first of the year, I think. So, and then maybe continue on.
Forever. Let's give her a big hand. What she's doing is wonderful.
Oh, aren't you doing just 2 classes on plant food?
I'm doing a class, let's see, I'm doing a class again in November, and I think I'm scheduled for February and April. I mean, it's
for the spring.
for the spring, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So this was just 1 class?
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be two in the spring semester.
Yeah, I just do 1 class at a time. For me personally, I don't like to commit to 3 or 4 classes because life happens. And I would just as soon, you know, for me personally, I'd rather just sign up for 1 and then. Do you?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I appreciate you being here. And they're all on the healing power of plant foods. That's what I'm all about. So.
So will this be like on your website by chance?
What? The video?
Your presentation tonight?
If I can put it on there, yeah.
It will be, actually, it will be on YouTube, and we will post the link on the ICL website, and we'll also put it in the newsletter. Our website is icl.dixie.edu.
So yeah, and I'd love to hear, you know, if you go home and watch the videos and yeah, I mean, I don't know where you are with your dietary regime, but if you know, I encourage people to really, you know, take the plunge and try 100% plant-based for a couple weeks and just see how you feel. If that's, you know, if that's kind of a scary thing for you, oh, I couldn't give up this, or I couldn't give up that, just try it. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. Try it for a week or 2 and see how you feel. And you might feel really great. You might feel not so great. Because sometimes if you've been eating a really unhealthy diet for a long time and then you switch, you don't feel so good for a while because your body's adjusting. But I'm guessing you guys are all pretty interested in nutrition and are probably trying to head in that direction anyway, or you probably wouldn't be here. So, yes? I get them at Costco in the tub. They're the Diglett Nor pitted dates. You can get the Mejules that are in a little smaller tub. They're bigger, plumper. They have pits in them, and they're like, oh, they're like decadent and so good. I hate to blend them because they're sort of kind of gourmet style. So, and they're more expensive. So, anyway.
I was going to make, whenever I make salsa, I always keep the skin on the tomatoes, just because I'm lazy. But do you think is the skin good for you too?
I'm sure it is. I don't know, you know, how much, if there's more nutrients in the skin or not, but I'm with you. I made some salsa this year, and I mean, everywhere I read, skin the tomatoes, skin the tomatoes. I don't want to skin the tomatoes. I use the chopper, the larger blade on the chopper, and chop them up and cook them. I can't even tell the skin's on them. So, yeah, I'm lazy. I mean, I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. I don't want to skin my tomatoes. So, Any other questions? All right, you guys have a great night.